In yesterday's session, we just discussed about our a simple hard-coded login form. You can say the login form. Okay, Raki? Raki? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any confusion, any query regarding our last session?
No.
And did you practice that session? Try to implement by yourself the same form, same kind of coding. You try to practice it or not, Raki? Raki, hello.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, please just practice that session, our last session also. If you have any query, any confusion regarding any function or our supergroup, a variable, dollar underscore post, or a form tag, or this is the condition, a simple if else condition, nothing else. Okay, please let me know if you have any confusion. Please let me know. Okay, now just we are moving ahead today. In today's session, we are going to discuss about the validation. Means we will validate our inputs. Means validate means if our input have the blank values. Means we are not entering any value into our input tags. Means our text boxes. Then this form should not be processed. Means this coding, this
Should not be processed more.
should not be processed means this coding should not be means our username and password should not be checked. There one message that you should enter username or password first.
No.
I need that message. Means I need to validate my inputs. You got the requirement? Okay, let's see how we do that. Okay, now for that, okay, firstly I have to tell you one thing about the validation. Validation is a two type in our web application, a client side validation and second one is a server side validation. Okay, okay Raki, the first one client side means we are checking the inputs or we are validating our inputs in client side only, means our form is not submitted to server. If we before submitting our form, if we are checking our validation, then it's called a client side validation, and we have to use for that a client side scripting language. For example, JavaScript and the jQuery. JavaScript and jQuery is the client side scripting language. Okay, Raki? Just keep in mind, we will discuss about the JavaScript also and the jQuery in our further session. Okay. Now, today we are going to see the server side validation, means a PHP validation, simple PHP validation, nothing else. Our PHP is a server side language, server side scripting language. So, if we want to process any code of PHP, we have to submit our form. I already told you about that. Means if our form is not submitted, then this code will not execute. We already check about that. Means when our form is submitted, then only the dollar underscore post have the value. You get the point? Otherwise, this will give you the username and the password. We are giving. We are just there is some error, or you can say the notice, a message in our browser, means undefined username or undefined password. We already see that. You forget, one second. Let me show you again. If I remove if condition, then and I just refreshed by the URL, means I'm just refreshing my coding. Then I'll get the two notice, the undefined index username and undefined index PWD. You remember that? Yeah. The- so it means our PHP code is a means this code. This dollar underscore post have the value only when our form is submitted to server. Nothing else. Okay. Now.
I didn't understand that.
Okay.
इसलिए आवाज की वजह से इसलिए आवाज is not clear.
Okay. Okay. Let me repeat it again. We have
बहुत
to.
देर हो गया.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No. No issue. No issue. I will repeat that again. I'll just connect it to the LAN cable also. Okay. Validation are two types. The type of validation, first is a server side validation and second is a client side validation. About the client side validation means our inputs, which inputs means the text boxes, and if we have radio button and select button here, or you can see the drop down, we will validate all these. Means we don't need to submit that inputs a blank into our main coding means the database coding. You can say this is a hard coded, we just see the login page with the hard coded values, means username equals to Rakhi and the password equals to Rakhi. If we want to check this username and password with the database, so we need to just enlarge our coding with the database connectivity plus the fetching data and the comparing data, all the things. So if you don't want to just process all the thing, if our input type have the blank value, so we have to validate our input. Means if we get the blank in text box username, then you should display a message that username required or please enter the username. Then only we will just execute our logic. Did you get the validation? This is the validation. And the client side, we have the client side language, a JavaScript and the jQuery. The both are the client side scripting language, means that the both languages executes on our browser only. They don't need to just go to our server. Okay, how we just validate our form with the JavaScript, we will see in the later session. Not today. Today we are just going to see about the PHP validation. PHP validation is a server side validation because PHP is a server side scripting language. Okay, Raki? What is the full form of hello? Yeah. Now let's see how we validate our inputs in PHP. Okay. Yeah, I can also. Yeah, sorry for that.
Internet problem.
Yeah, let me just reconnect the call again. Maybe.
अभी तो अच्छा है.
Sorry.
No. It's not good.
Yeah. I can just feel that also. Please be online, Raki. Yeah, one second. इसको भी pause करना पड़ेगा. Okay, let's see how we validate our form with the PHP validation. PHP is a server side validation. Two type of validation is there: a client side validation and a server side validation. Two type of validation. Okay. Okay, Raki. Yeah, it's not working. Start the video again. Now, in our today's session, we are going to discuss about the validation. Validate our input types. Okay. Which kind of validation means we can't just send blank inputs. Okay, let's see how we do that in PHP. First, we are going to see in PHP means PHP is a server-side validation. There is two kind of validation. First is client-side validation, and second one is a server-side validation. Okay, a client-side validation we use a JavaScript and the jQuery. Okay, we will discuss about the JavaScript jQuery validation in our future session. Today we are going to discuss about the server side validation, the PHP validation, a simple PHP validation. Okay. Okay, Raki?
Okay.
Yeah. Now, one second. So, if I just didn't enter anything, yeah, there is a message coming, username or password is not correct. Now, if I just validate with the PHP, the message should be, please enter the username or password. Means you can say the password and username should not be blank. We don't want to execute our this code. This code means the if and the else condition. Okay. Now for that, this is simple thing. I just have to use one if and the else. Okay. There's multiple if else already is there. Just see. One second. If the dollar underscore. One second. Let me. Now I have to use here. Okay. I'm just using one another if else condition. Okay, Raki. If I'm just checking username is blank or not. How we check user our variable? This is a variable. We just assigning the value of username into a variable. User equals to how we check blank?
With a string, with a string bracket and space.
Uh, by this?
No, one more space I guess.
No. Space means there is a space. Blank means there is a nothing. Space also takes one character. Okay. Okay. Means this is a blank. If user blank and or yeah, one second. Or means if one of them is blank or both the variables are blank, then we have to just give a message, a simple message. Once again, let me just code. I'll explain you why I use the or blank. Then I don't want to just execute code. Just a message, simple message. Please okay. This is our simple if condition. Otherwise, we just use the else, not else if, sorry, else only. Within the else, within this else, just concentrate on that. Within this else, what I'm doing this. I'm just copying this our code till the checking username and password. Removing from here and putting into our else. Means now. One second, let me just. Now, what we are doing, we just check one if condition. Is the our username or password is blank? If it is the blank, then yeah, you can use the echo. Please enter the username and password. Otherwise, our this code will be execute. Did you get the logic of our code?
Mm,
Means
yeah.
this is within our else part. Which else part means if this condition is true, means if the username false or password is sorry, if the username is blank or password is blank, then we have to just show the one message that you have to enter username and password. Otherwise, just run our code, our main logic, which are in which we are just checking the username and the password. Okay. Let's see output in the browser. If you have any confusion, I just explain that. Yeah. Now, if I just directly click on the login button, please enter username or the password. We got the message. Okay. If I just enter username, Raki, and then enter the password, we got the same message. Username or password is not correct.
Wait,
One second.
I missed your screen.
Miss my screen. But we are not using anything within the action, so a value will be in the same page. If we use action or any file name, then our value will be transferred to next page, and any whatever we have given in the within the action tag. Okay. Yeah, we already discussed about that. Now we just send the values into the same page, means our page calling itself, then we just receive by the dollar underscore post. Within the form tag we use the post method means the method of sending the value of input tag, and this is how we just receive the values using the name of our tags. These are the name of our input tag. Okay. Now we just receive the value of input tag, first input tag. What is the username? And we just assign to username. After that, we just get the value of password and assign to our dollar password. And we are just checking if the username is equals to blank, or dollar password is equals to blank, means these variable. We are just checking the dollar user and the dollar password. What is this condition? What is the logic behind this condition? We already discussed about the if, about the or. This is the operator or logical or. Do you remember this or operator?
Yeah.
Yeah. If we use this
Oh,
or
फिर
operator.
आपका फिर चला गया
Oh, आज दिन. One
हाँ
second.
सही है
One second. Where is? Oh, where is my browser?
यहाँ तो इंटरनेट का कनेक्शन सही लग रहा है
No, आपकी आवाज भी अभी तो सही आ रही है.
हम्म
Please be online.